Shabbat Shalom, Boker Tov. Take a moment and just feel how you are connected to the earth and how you are held up to what is possible. A new day, a new moment. Shabbat. For those who are here in the sanctuary, we continue on page 187 of our Siddur. For those who are following us virtually, please look for the PDF below the live stream link. To you, the stars of morning sing. From you, their bright radiance must spring, and steadfast in their vigils day and night. The children of the One, flooded with fervor, ring your praise. They teach the holy ones to bring into your house the breath of early light. 186, a prayer of gratitude. Modeh, Modah, Modim, Ani. We are cognizant. We don't take for granted the gratitude, the splendor, the blessing of a new morning, of life, of possibility. I offer thanks to you, O Sovereign, who has restored me, my soul. Modimani. Lefanecha melech chai v'kayam. 188 at the bottom. I lift my eyes to the mountains, noticing the awesome everywhere, welcoming that awesome into my being. Praise to you, Adonai, our source, sovereign of the universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it would be impossible to endure and stand before you.
Baruch atah Adonai, rofei chol basar, umafli la'asot.
196. Hold a stillness in your being and just notice your breath. This involuntary gift that keeps us alive. And as we notice, so we are invited to use this awareness to connect to the sacred in life. Nishima, with each breath in, welcome from the source. Nishama, with every out-breath, allow your soul to be bound up in who you choose to be at this moment.
Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. Elohai neshama shenatata bi. Elohai neshama shenatata bi. Baruch atah Adonai, asher biyado nefesh kol chai, veruach kol besari.
198, a litany of gratitude. The melody repeats itself so that you not get stuck on the words themselves, but allow yourself to move in rhythm to all that you are grateful for. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lasechri vina, lahavchin ben yom uvein laila, for awakening. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Pokeach Ivrim, for vision. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim, for the ability to stretch. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Zokev kefufim, for rising to the new day. 200. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Roka haaretz al hamayim, for firmer to stand upon. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Amechin mitzadei gaver, for the gift of motion. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim, for clothing the body. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hanotein laya'ef koach, for renewed enthusiasm for life. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, amavir sheina me'enai, utnuma me'afapai, for reawakening. 202. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani b'tselem Elohim, for being in the image of the divine. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani ben chorim, for being a free person. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani Yisrael, for being a Jew. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael b'gvura for purpose. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifaraha for harmony. 204. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah, for the privilege and responsibility of continuing to grow and learn. Amen. 213. Hareini mizamen et pihi lehodot ulehalel ulishabeach et borihi. With this do I prepare myself to thank, praise, and glorify my Creator.
Baruch atah Adonai
Melech
kula
batishpachot. Amen. 214. A song, a psalm for the Sabbath day.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך העליון, ולזמר לשמך העליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות. עלי עשור ועלינו, נעמל עלי היגיון בחינות. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך העליון, ולזמר לשמך העליון. כי שמחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך הרעים. הגדול מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך העליון, ולזמר לשמך העליון. ולזמר לשמך העליון,
Settling in song to this very place, the gift of this home, the gift of community, the gift of being here. 215.
אשרי יושבי ביתך, עוד יעלוך, עוד יעלוך. Hallelujah. Oh, dear Hallelujah.
218. From this place to notice amazement in every aspect of the universe. We pray responsively. This is perhaps a description of what the Chatzi Kaddish is, a pause. This is perhaps a description of what Shabbat is, a pause. What makes a fire burn is space between the logs, a breathing space. Too much of a good thing, too many logs packed in too tight, can douse the flames almost as surely as a pail of water would.
So building fires requires attention to the spaces in between as much as to the wood.
When we are able to build open spaces, in the same way that we have learned to pile on the logs, then we can come to see how it is fuel and absence of fuel together that make the fire possible.
We only need to lay a log lightly from time to time. A fire grows simply because the space is there, with openings in which the flame that knows just how it wants to burn can find its way.
Facing page 224, the Aramaic rhythm of noticing spaces.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah Ve'alma divra chirutei
v'yamlich malchuti b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam ul'almei olmaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei D'Kudisha Berichu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechemata Damiran Be'alma V'Imru calling one another into formal worship. 226. la 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 la. 228, noticing creation together. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvarei choshech oseh shalom uvarei et hakol hameir la'aretz v'ledarim aleha berachamim u'tuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai Kulam b'chokhma asita mal'ah haaretz kinyanecha titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha ve'al me'orei or she'asita yifa'arucha selah. Or chadash al Zion ta'ir, 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 v'nizke chulanu mehera le'oro, v'nizke chulanu mehera Amen. 230. Ahava Rabbah, Ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu. How deeply you have loved us, Adonai, our source, gracing us with surpassing compassion, on account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life. Be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. V'ha'erinenu b'toratecha, v'dahavek libeinu b'mitzvotecha, v'yached levavenu be'ahava u'lirah et shemecha, v'lo nevosh v'lo nikalem v'lo nikasher le'olam va'ed ki v'shem kodshecha hagadol v'hanora b'tachnu nagila v'nismecha nagila v'nismecha b'yeshuatecha v'havi'enu l'shalom me'arba knafot ha'aretz v'tolichenu como miut le'artzenu ki el po el yeshuot ata uvanav acharta v'keravtanu l'shimcha hagadol sela be'emet להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה.
ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
232 standing together.
Shema Yisrael Adonai בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
235, the Shema calls us to affirm our faith. The Ve'ahavta calls us to live our faith. If we can hear the words from Sinai, then love will flow from us and we shall serve all that is holy with all our intellect and all our passion and all our life.
If we can serve all that is holy we shall be doing all that humans can to help the rains to flow, the grasses to be green, the grains to be golden like the sun, and the rivers to be filled with life once more.
All the children of the one shall eat, and there will be enough. But if we turn from Sinai's words and serve only what is common and profane, making gods of our own comfort or power, then the holiness of life will contract for us. Our world will grow inhospitable.
Let us therefore lace these words into our passion and our intellect and bind them as a sign upon our hands. Let us write them in mezuzot upon our doors and teach them to our children.
Let us honor the generations that came before us, keeping the promise for those yet to be.
Adonai Elohechem
Emet. 241, Birkat Geula at the bottom of the page. Abraham Joshua Heschel teaches, it is not enough to be concerned for the life to come. Our immediate concern must be with justice and compassion in life here and now, with human dignity, welfare, and security. Speaking the words of Miriam, of Moses, of Bnei Yisrael, we affirm the possibility of moving through this moment, this day, this life, with a sense of the sacred. 240.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh, nora tehilot osef eleh, shira chadasha, shibchu geulim l'shimcha, al sfat hayam, yachad kulam hodu ve'imlehu ve'ameru, Adonai imloch, Adonai imloch, le'olam va'ed. Tzor Yisrael, huma be'ezrat Yisrael, uvtechenu mecha, Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Kol aleinu Adonai tzevaot shemo, Kadosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Shemo.
Yisrael.
Standing together and facing east.
Sifatay tiftach ufi
Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Emoteinu
Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot va'Imahot, U'Mevi Gula Livnei Vneihem, Lema'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer, Moshiach Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. 246. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atarav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach, Omorit hagashem, Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechayei meitim berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umkayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha bal gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman atah lechayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol.
247, we pray responsively. You are the open door that beckons me in. Peeking around the doorframe, I begin to enter into your glory.
You move me forward, O Eternal, to step beyond self-made boundaries. Lift my foot over the threshold that I might abide with you.
In the house of the Eternal, I found my questions, waiting to be posed. They filled me with wonder.
Sit with me, Eternal Teacher. Encourage my seeking as I fill my hours with your mitzvot. So shall I be filled.
Send me through your door, stretching up to honor your name, sharing out this wonder, enriching myself in the giving. Baruch atah Adonai, notea b'tochenu chayei olam. 248, honoring what is kadosh.
Nikadesh et shemcha ba'olam, Yeshem shemakdishim oto b'shmei marom, kakatuv al yanim v'yecha, v'kara zel zeh v'hamar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tziva'ot, Meloko haaretz, Kivodo, Adir, Adirenu, Adonai, Adonenu, Adir Shemcha b'chol haaretz, Baruch Kivod Adonai. Mimkomo, Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu, vehu Yashmienu, berachamav leinei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai leolam. Elohai Yitzion, Ledor Ador, Hallelujah. Ledor Vador, Ledor Vador, Ledor Vador, Nagid
golecha.
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור נגיד גולך. ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. ושיבך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. לי 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 full of joy. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקור עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקור עונג שבת. מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם ישמחו ויתלמדו בחשבת. בחשבי רצית בו וקידשו שבת. חמדת ימין אותו קראת השבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקור עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקור עונג שבת. There is a beauty of lifting our voices together. The Israel Baal Shem Tov says, if I am not able to lift my voice, but the one next to me lifts her voice lifts my voice together. And there is a place for each of us to go inward, to find the unwritten prayer. Tfilat Amidah makes room for this. The traditional tefillah continues belachash, in a whisper through page 260. Make certain to whisper loud enough that you hear the prayer emerging from within this Sabbath morning. Work your way back to your seats when you've concluded your Amidah. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, O Source, whose presence is ever revealing itself throughout the universe. 260. One who grants peace in the heavens, inspire us to forge peace, to be Rodfei Shalom, pursuers of peace, insisters on peace. Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom b'moav, Uyaseh Shalom, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, ve'al kol, we raise our voice as one, and we say Amen.
362. Tekes Hotzeat Sefer HaTorah, the special ceremony for bringing forth the Torah for study.
Ein kamocha va'elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitin, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. 364. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udvar Adonai miYerushalayim. Please rise. Se'u she'arim roshechem, U'se'u p'tchei olam, Yavo melech hakavod. Mihu ze melech hakavod, Adonai Tzivaot, Hu melech hakavod. Selah. 366. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. We pray responsively. Shema Yisrael Adonai
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shmo.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo.
Adlul Adonai Ti
Unerom ema Shemo Yaakov.
Lecha Adonai Hagedula v'Hagevura v'Hatiferet v'Hanetzach v'Havod Kicho b'Shamayim u'va'aretz Kicho b'Shamayim u'va'aretz Lecha Adonai Hamlacha v'Hamitnaseh lechol rosh Lai, 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 lai.
Lai,
Lai, lai, lai, lai, lai.
Lai, 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 lai,
lai.
In your Torah, your blue Chumash, you can follow the reading today on page 126. We are reading from Parshat Vayera, and we will be dropping in on chapter 19, verses 1 through 3. For the first Aliyah, it is my privilege to invite Ellen Leifer, both for the Aliyah and for the blessing. Na la'amod eta מבית משה ויוכבד לעלייה הראשונה. I gotta find it.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai notein ha'torah.
Amen. Okay, it's right around here. Hold on for 1 second. It's right in here. You have to you can give me a hand looking also. I'm just going to follow. So I thought this was going to be so easy for me, and I just realized there's a giant block here, so I'm going to have to follow the story to figure out where we are. Okay, we're right here. Here. Got it.
Let me see it.
Sure. I know, okay. Ayavo. Right up here.
That's not the right one.
Oh,
I knew it didn't.
it's right here, because I know this is the part I'm reading. Okay. Some technical difficulties. to really follow. Nice song. Lie, 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 lie. Doesn't make sense. Reading 19. So here's what you know. I need a break. I think I haven't done this in like 13 years, but I apologize. Sorry? I need a break.
What about next Shabbat?
I need a break.
Next Shabbat, I'll do it, okay?
Here we are. We are on page 126, 19:1.
Amen. Vayavo Shnei Hamalachim Sodoma Ba'arev V'lo Yoshev Bashar Sodom Vaya'alot Vayakam Likratam Vayashtachu Apayim Arza Vayomer Hinena Adonai Soruna El Beit Avdechem V'linu V'rachatzu Raglechem V'yashatem V'halachtem V'darchechem Vayomru lo Ki v'chol nalin V'yiftzar bam Ma'od Vayitzar bam ma'od, vayasuru elav, vayavohu el nalin, vayas lahem mishteh, umatzot afa,
Vayochelu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai notin haTorah.
Amen. For the second Aliyah, we have the privilege of inviting Sue Hirsch, Nala Amod, Susan Hirsch, Nala Amod, Meira Bat Hoshea v'Rachel, LaAliyah HaShenit.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Baruch Harbanu
Asher Bachar Banu.
Mikol Ha'amin, V'natan Lanu et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Terem yishkavu, v'anshei ha'ir, anshei Sodom, nisavu al habayit, minar v'ad zaken, ha'am mikzer. Vayikaru el Lot, vayomer lo, ayeh hanashim, asher ba'u elecha ha'layla, hoti'em aleinu, v'neda otam, vayetze alehem, Lot ha'petcha, v'hadelet sagar acharav.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'he'olam nata b'tikenu, Baruch Atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yesher Kochech. You come around to the other side.
Do you want to do Mishber?
Yeah, I do, for sure. It is our tradition when the Torah is open and we are paying attention, and certainly not lost, but very much found, that we bring our attention to members of our community who are struggling with illness. As we pray, are you talking for me? As we pray these prayers, I will pause, and when I pause, please send forth the names of loved ones who are dealing with challenges of body and of soul, and of course that includes those who are with us virtually. Make sure that you also intention and honor those names. Mi sheberach avotenu ve'imotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, u'yivarech et hacholim.
Claude Schleuderer. Lee Kalish.
Susan Bash, Elaine Trott. All of the names that we included last evening in our healing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yimalei Rachamim Alehem, Lachlimam U'Lerafotam Lachzikam, Vaishlach Lahem Meira Refuah, Refuah Shleimah Min HaShamayim, Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf, Ashtei Bagalav Yisman Kariv, V'nomar, Amen.
The third Aliyah, I'd like to call Dave and Evelyn Rosenthal, Nala Amod, David, Mi Beit Shlomo v'Miriam, Nala Amod, Chava, Mi Beit Yona v'Tova, Ha'aliyah ha'shlishit.
Baruch Atah
Adonai.
Baruch Hu et Adonai.
Hambarak.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen, amen. Vayomar al na'achai tareu. Hinena li shtei banot asher lo yadu ish otiana et hen elechem ve'asu lahen katov be'enechem rak la'anashim ha'el al ta'asu davar ki al ken ba'u Batzel korati. Vayomru gesh hala. Vayomru ha-echad ba lagor vayishpot. Shafot ata nara lecha mehem vayivtzeru ba'ish belot me'od vayigshu lishpor et hadelet.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam atah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yesher kochech, yesher kochechem.
And now I'd like to call Rabbi Yael for Hagba, and Kara, can you come up and tie for Galila? Nala Amod, Hagba Galila.
Please rise. Everybody stand up. Thank you.
Lizot HaTorah asher samosha livnei b'nei Yisrael abi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Torah, 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 Siva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Siva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Siva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Siva lanu Moshe. Ki mitzion teitei Torah, udvar Adonai Yerushalayim. 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 Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai.
Yesher kochechem to the Torah reader and to those who received aliyot and those who have joined us this morning. We're going to take a moment and just hear a bit of Haftarah. You can find the Haftarah on page 149. 149. We open with the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar bin bi'im tovim v'ratzav divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Habocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'Nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Amen. Ve'isha achat min shei v'nei hanvim tza'aka El Elisha lemor avdecha ishi met ve'ata yadata כי עבדך היה ירא את אדוני והנושה בא לקחת את שני ילדיי לו לעבדים ויאמר אליה אלישע מה אעשה לך הגידי לי מה יש לך בבית ותאמר אין לשפחתך חול בבית כי אם אסוך שמן ויאמר לכי שאלי לך כלים מן החוץ מאת כל שכנייך כלים ריקים אל תמעיטי ובאת וסגרת הדלת בעדך ובעד בנייך ויצאת על כל הכלים האלה והמלא תעשי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם צור כל העולמים צדיק בכל הדורות האל הנאמן האומר ועושה המדבר ומקיים שכל דבריו אמת וצדק על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה לכבוד ולתפארת על הכל. אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת Amen. I am struck by the humanness of Genesis. I'm struck by the hard ethical questions that are really the questions that we each have to ask ourselves about our own lives. If you think about it, last week, this week, next week, we speak about the human condition in its rawness. Fathers that push sons away, that sacrifice sons. Mothers that can't conceive. Others who step up to be surrogates, and the complications for them as they bear another person's child. We speak about life and death, blessings and challenges. It reminds me that the Torah really acts as a mirror for us to look at our own lives. And I will say right out of the gate, because I'm going to take us right to where we read today, a section that I've never studied with you because I hate it. I hate the section because I am embarrassed by it. I am pained by it. I am frustrated by it. And that's the reason I'm going to sit and lean in with you and know the people in the Torah are not perfect. We say that the Torah is perfect. We say that the source is perfect. But I'm going to tell you that leaning into it and trying to understand it, it is far from perfection. So let me just point out, you notice that I'm also staging as I'm teaching. I'm losing my place. I'm finding my place. I've put a mic here in the middle. Barry respectfully asks that if you would like to say something, that you make your way to the mic, because that way everyone who is following us virtually can hear your comments. And the one thing I'm going to remind you is that there may be someone else at the mic and you may want to speak, so just give yourself 6 feet, separate yourself from them, and wait for your time to come up to the mic, and that way we will be able to hear you. Let's turn back to where we read today, and let's just find our place. Here we are, 19:1, and what just happened before we go into our portion? Who can tell me what just occurred in the Torah portion? It's on page 126. 126.
Abraham and Sarah were visited by the emissaries and
Wait, so do you mind coming up? Do you mind? Thank you. I know it's a little bit of movement for you guys.
Okay, so
Good to stretch your legs.
So to the best of my recollection, Abraham and Sarah were sitting out, and they were visited by 2 emissaries who came and told them that they were to expect a son. And that was the most important part of
Okay, that's beautiful. That's the beginning of the portion, absolutely. We are going to come right back to that in a minute. And then between that, so they welcome these 2 men into their tent, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But something else happens after that section. They're promised that they're going to have a child. Abraham is given a tafkid, a responsibility.
Yeah, and the emissaries, God speaks to Abraham and says that we have to destroy Sodom and
Absolutely.
Gomorrah.
So that's right. So right before this, you were right that happens at the beginning of the portion, and Kara's right before this. The source says we have to destroy this place. And Kara, I know had you stayed, you could have told us this. Abraham is really great because Abraham says, what do you mean, destroy a place? And the source says, well, it's corrupt. And Abraham says, fine, it's corrupt, but what if I can find 10 righteous people, 5 righteous people, 1 righteous person? What if I can find righteous people there? And each time the source takes the challenge and says, if you can find, yes, you find me those 10 people and I won't destroy. And in the end, Abraham can't find anyone righteous. So what we're set with before this moment is that Sodom and Gomorrah, there is corruption there, and we know that they're slaughtered, they're fated. There's going to be destruction there, a catastrophic situation, and the people of Sodom and Gomorrah are going to be destroyed. That's what happens right before this. And who, of course, is in Sodom? Lot. Abraham and Sarai's nephew is in Lot. So now let's talk about Lot. And let's talk about this. That evening, 2 Melachim. When I say Melachim, what do you hear? Angels. 2 divine emissaries. 2 angels came to Sodom. Now this is interesting. When I say 2 emissaries came to Sodom, what do you connect this to? And you don't have to get up for every answer. I'll repeat these short answers. What do you connect this to? 2 angels came to Sodom.
God sent them to send a message.
Vicky says God sends them to send a message. What does it remind you in the text? 2 angels. Back to what you said.
the angels, same angels.
Wait, are these the same angels? Hold on for a minute. Let's talk about this. hold your hand here and go to the beginning on page 123. We know that the Eternal appeared to him, meaning Abraham, by the oaks of Mamre as he was sitting at the entrance of the tent. Okay, keep going. Let's go down and let's say, looking up, verse 2, looking up, he saw 3 anashim. Melachim was what we said at Lot, and Melachim is what we say with Abraham. So, anashim. What's the difference? What does anashim mean? People. Anashim means people. 3 men. 3 men. Okay, you're noticing 2 things. First of all, we know that the number is different. 3 men came to Abraham, 2 men came to Lot. Okay, the other thing that we have to notice is, in Abraham's case, they are anashim. They're like you and me. They're just people. In Lot's case, they are melachim, emissaries of the divine. So the change of word is important. Let's break it apart. When you hear 3 and when you hear 2, what do those things signal? Now come up to talk so that you can be also with me on the virtual. 3, 2, any thoughts? Come up, Kara, if you're going to answer. Sorry, I know I'm making you jump. You don't have to do aerobics later today. You'll have got it done in shul.
2 were the angels, and 1 was the source, 1 was God.
Ooh, nice. If Kara's saying, if this is the same group that came to Abraham, maybe 2 are angels and 1 is the source. That's beautiful. Okay, just let's go with the numbers 3 and 2. When I have 3, what does it suggest to me? A, if you want to convert, if you want to divorce, what do you have to do? You have to go to a? Is it true? But in addition, you have to go to a Beit Din. And a Beit Din is made up of 3 other people of Torah. 3. So in a way, it seems like the 3 number is sort of setting up a section of like being tested, right? A Beit Din. How you doing? Are you actually living up to the responsibility? You guys following what I'm saying?
Yes.
When I got home last night, Michael told me that he couldn't follow everything that I said in the teaching last night. That's his problem.
It's right back there.
So, but when I have 2, when in Judaism do we have 2? Yes? Witness, edim, 2 witnesses. That's right. So on your ketubah, your marriage, you have to have 2 witnesses, right? And we need 2. So 1 is like witness. 1 is like test, Beit Din, are you prepared? So that's interesting. Let's leave that for a minute and let's go to the difference between people and angels. Anashim with Abraham and Melachim with Lot. What do you make of that? Pretty interesting, actually. Thank you, Marty, for getting up.
It doesn't rule out that the 3 didn't include the angels. Angels are people.
I love
Angel
it.
Malchim are people.
I love it. And so this is so important that we use this teaching from Kushner, and we say, you were going to say this?
Well, just as in when Jacob's story that we haven't got to yet, when the angels come to him, they descend. Mm-hmm. They ascend from earth. So they
ascend first, and then they descend.
So
the angels, when Jacob puts his head on the earth, we hear that the angels are going up and coming down. We say, what do you mean? Angels, they come from the earth. Because we always think angels come from the heavens, right, and come down to us, but not according to the Torah. According to the Torah, the angels begin on earth, says Alexandra, go up and come down. So first of all, angels can be right here according to Judaism, they begin on earth, and then they elevate us. The other piece that we know about them is that they move. They're not stagnant. And they're not necessarily revealed. I understand that Marty's saying to us, look, we say this Friday night with the Larry Kushner prayer. People can be angels too. Pay attention what your angelic responsibility, what your role is. So it's not, I love how Marty said this, it's not definitive because there's a difference, but we still have to pay attention to the difference of the language. Perhaps the difference comes to make Marty's point, that anashim and malachim can be interchangeable, okay? I still believe that there is something for us to tease out in the difference of the first word, anashim, and of malachim. Please.
I guess I was less noticing those Hebrew words and noticing how the humans in the Torah noticed either the 3 or the 2. In the first section, he looks up and he sees the 3. In the second section, where we're saying they're angels,
Right.
They come and then they are seen.
Beautiful. This is so good. So here's the thing. Maybe the distinction has less to do with who they are and more to do with our ability to perceive, right? This idea, what the great test for Abraham is that he has to look up and he has to notice the sacred in these ordinary people. Whereas Lot, sort of they come knocking on his door. There they are, bang, bang, bang. And they're angels. Who's at the door? Oh, it's angels. Got it. So, we're at different moments in ourselves. And I love this idea. Robert Alter, a biblical scholar, talks a lot about the yin and the yang, the idea that in every one of us there is a Rachel and a Leah. There is an Isaac and an Esau. And here I'm going to say there's an Abraham and a Lot. It's very interesting that Lot, we know, is his nephew, and yet in the Torah, he's described as his brother. And it makes me uncomfortable, but then I think about what Robert Alter teaches me, and I remember sometimes I can see them as different people. Sometimes I can see them as the same person who makes 2 different choices or is at 2 different places in their life. Sometimes I'm able to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. Sometimes I need the angel to knock me up on the, wake up, Rabbi Yael. Don't you see there's an opportunity here? We're not going to be able to know exactly what the difference is, but I wanted you to hear the difference of those Hebrew words. And it can be all of these. Here's the thing. How does Abraham, before we turn back, tell me how Abraham responds. He looks up, he sees, they're in a distance, they're hazy. It's the heat of the day. He had just been circumcised, right? He's in terrible pain. He's an adult. He's an old man, actually. He was just circumcised. It's Israel, the heat of the day. The tent doors are up, the tent sides are up, and he lifts his eyes up and he sees these ordinary men coming, and what does he do? Kara, you come, Kara. I'm sorry, I'm making you jump because it's important for me not to say this. This is important to be said by you guys.
When Abraham sees them, he feeds them. He sacrifices a young kid, and he serves them with sweet and sour milk.
That's right.
When Lot's coming,
I want to stay with your word. He sacrifices. He sacrifices himself. He does. He really does. He runs. He jumps. He and Sarah prepare. Yes, he gives them food to eat, and he washes their feet, and this idea that he puts himself on the line. Now we're going to look back at Lot and see how Lot greets these angels. Knock, 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 who's there? It's the angels, right? Let's take a look at what Lot does. Okay, so let's go to verse 2, 19:2, page 126. Come, my lords, turn to your servant's house, stay there overnight, wash your feet. What's different? Go wash your own feet. Wash your feet. Wash your feet before you come into my house. Versus, I know I'm making a joke, I'm not. And Kara and I have spoken about this a lot. And Kara and I want to talk to the board about this a lot. How do we actually do audacious hospitality? You know, it's great to say, hey, listen, wash your feet on your way in, right? But when we reach out and we say, no, oh, welcome. Let me wash your feet. Now, we're not washing each other's feet, but are we stepping out of our comfort zone? That's what Abraham does. He doesn't know who they are. He doesn't know that they're angels, but he sees the possibility in these ordinary people. He puts his own comfort. He makes his own comfort secondary, and he puts their comfort first. That's the message here of audacious hospitality. Lot, they had yet to lie down, verse 4, in the towns, the people of Sodom, young and old alike, all the people from every side gathered around the house, and they called to Lot, saying, where are those men who came to you tonight? Bring them out so that we can have them. So that we can have them, so that we can know them. V'neidah. What is the implication here? Yeah, the implication is that they want to have them sexually, the yada, to know one. It's very, I would love to be able to challenge us to read this differently, to yada. What if it was, and we know from the context that it's not, because we know in a minute the part that I can't stand is that Lot is going to offer his own daughters in their stead. So we know that this is of a sexual nature. We do see the word yada from when two people become intimate with one another, that is to yada. But the word yada would also be, come, I want to know you. I want to know you. I wish it was that. It doesn't seem that that's the case. It doesn't seem that that's what Lot understands that to be the case. And Lot, in verse 6, goes out to them, and he says to them, please, brothers, do no evil. Okay? Now, before I go to the horrible part, let's talk about anything good about Lot. Shower me with good. What's good about Lot?
He's very generous with his daughters.
I'm trying to avoid the daughters for a minute. He's very generous. He tries to please the people. So interesting that you said. The reason I went back and forth to Abraham is because one of the things that the rabbis talk about is that he's actually learned from Abraham. This is we always talk about Abraham and his audacious hospitality. And today I was willing to be uncomfortable with you and to talk about Lot, in fact. But here's the thing. Lot did learn from his uncle and his aunt. He learned to be hospitable. He's trying. He does a junk job at it. He doesn't do a good job in the end, and that's what I want to tease out. He doesn't do a good job for a very specific reason, but the impulse to welcome them in, to protect them, to be generous, it looks like it's trying to rear its head.
We were talking about how audacious hospitality and how we were celebrating that he put his, I'm forgetting names, but that he put his comforts second.
Lot.
No, Abraham. Abraham put his comforts second. Lot is making a sacrifice, not of himself, of other people.
Absolutely.
And so he is not putting his comforts above
Yeah.
anyone. He is sacrificing others, which I don't like.
We all don't like that.
Yes.
Yeah, Marty.
Here's a really disturbing association, which is that Lot is also mimicking Abraham in the sense that he is willingly giving his daughters in the same way that Abraham appeared to be willingly giving his son Isaac in the Akedah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to say to you guys very clearly, so that you hear it, before we talk about how uncomfortable we are, because we are, I want to tell you that Tanhuma is enraged by Abraham's behavior and says, how can this be? It ought to be that we fiercely defend our children, our family, to the ends of the earth, right? First and foremost, defend them. And from that, we grow to know the rest of the world. And here it seems horrific. They actually damn Lot because something terrible is going to happen here. Lot gets saved. And Lot's sons, he doesn't have sons, Lot's daughters and son-in-laws and wife are all supposed to be saved. But they can't convince the son-in-laws to leave. And in the end, Lot and his wife and his daughters leave. And the Talmud says the girls don't have husbands. The Talmud tells us that Lot actually was being very selfish. He actually wanted the daughters for himself. That's what the Talmud says. They try to they damn Lot. That he is actually a corrupt person. And we see this over and over. You know, how does Lot get to Sodom? You guys remember? It seems that their flocks are too great, and Abraham says, listen, the land can't sustain us. Tell me, where do you want to go? You go north, I'll go south. You go east, I'll go west. You know, wherever you go, I'll go the other. Lot looks up and he sees it's really green down at Sodom, and he goes, I'll go there. And Abraham says, that's fine, I'll go to the desert. I'll go where there's no green because I have a faith. I have the sacred. So it will be fine for me in the desert. As I love to tell you guys, there's a lot of water in the desert. You just have to work for it. Sodom, the Talmud will weigh in and say, Lot actually is corrupt in his core. I would like to push back and say, wait a minute. I actually think Lot is maybe a little bit more like us. The cautionary tale. We are really big. I think this is going to be my theme for the year, which is we have noble ideas and we speak about noble ideas, but then doing it, it's not so easy. I want to be audaciously hospitable, but I don't want to be uncomfortable, right? I believe that we should have open doors. Let's lock those doors. No, I believe that we should welcome everyone, but what if they make us uncomfortable? And I think that I understand that you and I and each of us are really horrified by what Lot does. Here, take my daughters. They have not known a man. That's what he says. They have not known any man. Take my daughters, which is also bizarre because they have husbands, right? Yeah.
He can have a third daughter who is married.
Ah, he could have a third daughter who was married. But whatever, of course, it's what's fundamentally problematic is that his daughters are expendable. But Marty brought up a great point. What if he was actually really just mimicking Abraham, who seemed to think that his son was expendable? His sons, Ishmael too. He sends Ishmael out to the desert. We're really getting Moses and Lot today. He binds Abraham. The text does not agree. I got to say, biblical text does not agree. The biblical text in both cases says he did the right thing because he knew that Ishmael would be okay, and he knew that God would provide and that Isaac would be okay. The Talmud thinks that Abraham did right on both cases, actually mixed on the situation of Ishmael, but not on the response to Isaac. But I want to take us back again, and I want to say, wait a minute. Maybe Lot is telling us about what's difficult for us. Maybe we have this idea that we should be audaciously hospitable, but when I say, who can invite X into their home, we look down. It's a really good idea for someone else to do. It's difficult for me because, make the list of why it's difficult. Make the list. I have so many children in my home. I don't have anyone in my home. My home's not ready to invite somebody in. I'm really quite shy. Tell me all the reasons that it's difficult. Because I hear you. I understand. It's so easy for us to be uncomfortable, as we should, with the fact that he wants to make his daughters expendable. I think audacious hospitality is a great idea as long as you do it. That's what many of us do. I'm going to say out loud, I hope that there are thousands of my congregation listening. We need greeters Friday night and Saturday. We need greeters Friday night and Saturday. And come, let's be audaciously hospitable. Not let's make a decision that we should be audaciously hospitable. Let's do it. If everybody in our congregation signed up for one time over the year, we'd be covered. If half of our congregation signed up for 2 times, we'd be covered. It's a great idea, but what if I have other plans? Or what if I'm uncomfortable? If what I don't know if everybody, and it's hard for me to greet, and if I greet someone and I ask for their vaccination card and they're uncomfortable, then I'm going to be uncomfortable. I don't like to do that. I do other things. It's hard to be hospitable. And it's not surprising that there's a same group of 7 who keep rotating and showing up to be audaciously hospitable. And that's just the surface. When we go deeper and deeper to what it actually means to welcome a person or even an angel into our midst, it is not as simple as we write it. So I'm going to leave us with that today, with this idea that we begin to challenge ourselves to imagine, not that Lot's a terrible person, which he is, who puts his daughters on the line and makes women expendable, which he does, which I find unacceptable at best. Just imagine worse words that I'm saying. But guess what? Marty told us, so does Abraham. And so do I. And so do you. So, yes, condemn that behavior, but only after you condemn the behavior in yourself. And from there, we begin to really absorb the challenges and the meaning of the message of one of the messages of this week's portion. 374, Nalakum, please rise. Yahalalu et Shem Adonai, ki nizgav shemo levado.
Odo haaretz v'shamayim,
Vayarem kerem li'amo.
Tehila lechol chasidav, livnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Ki lekach tov natati lachem torati al ta'azovu.
It's chaim hi lemachaziki ba v'tomcheha meushar deracheha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom hashivenu Adonai Teshuvah. Chadish, Chadish Yameinu, Chadish Yameinu,
Please be seated. A moment of announcements. Immediately following services, I will be leaving with the confirmation class as we do community service. That is just in case any of my confirmands are showing up, and I know they're showing up, but also so that you know what the confirmands do on Shabbat. Zimmet Religious School tomorrow morning at 9:30. All of my classes next week will be suspended until the first week of November. To all of those that I messed up with the Chai with the Rabbi, I apologize. I double booked, and I was in a meeting with our religious school director. I have to get with the program. Next Friday, I will be with my grandson, and Alexandra will be leading services. We have the gift of having lay teacher Bob Brackman with us, and Saturday morning Minyan begins at 10 a.m., and we have the gift of having lay teacher and board president Jeff Greenberg delivering the teaching. In November, actually, let me first go in October. Next Saturday at 1:30 on the front lawn, there will be a Tibetan drumming circle. The UCC, the Universalist Unitarian Congregation, approached us. They are doing something with churches across the country of ringing bells for awareness to call us to act concerning climate change. There'll be bells ringing throughout Kingston. Our shul is not a church. We don't have a bell. And so when the UCC asked if they could use our lawn, it looked to me like an opportunity for us to join together with our interfaith communities and demand what we say is important for us. Wake up and be aware of the responsibility of stewardship of the earth. I will be on the front lawn at 1:30. I'm going to come out I'm going to leave my grandson to be here at 1:30. So please join me. Look for an email with more details during the week. It's a half an hour of drumming, and I think it's a worthy moment. We'll continue in this same vein at our Interfaith Gathering of Gratitude on Tuesday, November 16th at 7 p.m. Our theme for this year's Gratitude Gathering is our responsibility to the earth, and my colleague, the Dr. Reverend Gregory Simpson, will be not only addressing this, but also addressing houses of worship, including us, about action items. What are the next steps? What do we need to do to put our money where our mouth is, to really live our values? Help feed your neighbors with your involvement with the Blue Fridge. If you are joining us virtually, please check out the website or This Week and Beyond to know how to be involved. If you are here in the sanctuary, make sure to take a brown paper bag with the address of the Blue Fridge. We're asking everyone in our congregation to regularly, once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, but as you shop, to drop fresh fruits and vegetables or home-cooked meals to the Blue Fridge, where our neighbors who don't have equal access and equity when it comes to eating food, a basic right that we can help fill their tummies and their families' tummies. And finally, Sisterhood and Cindy Silver ask you to be part of the Backpack Project, creating and getting supplies for school children in the local community who don't have what they need to attend school. This and all of our other announcements can be found on our website. And at this time, I ask that you turn with me to page 500 and 92, 592. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old people that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for the other walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love does not die. People do, so when all that's left of me is love, give me away. 598, remembering the martyrs of our people who left no one to say Kaddish for them, remembering the people of every race and nation who lived their lives as a blessing to humanity, remembering those who died recently, and members of our community are saying their year of their Shana of Kaddish. And today, we specifically remember those who died in this season in years past, this week. Samuel Beck, Zelda Otis Botfagel, Alice Bennis Slonin remembered, Julie Stein Mikowski's mother, Dora Carmel, Mary Schwartz Cohen remembered by Joseph Cohen's mother, James G. Connolly, Barbara Cohen's father, Gerard Consiglio, Sandy Albelli's father, Harold Feldstein, Suzanne Zimbler's father, Hilda Grunblatt, Mark Grunblatt's mother, Rex C. Hill, Melanie Hill's husband, Louis Himes, Ida Lipschitz, Alexander Saul Miller, Marty Miller's father, Polly Ruth Miller, Marty Miller's daughter, Herbert Nadan, Marshall Nadan's father, Sarah Jane Schwartz, John C. Sedlak, Donna Tresk's brother, Bernice Siegel, Joy Gross's mother, Henry Wolfe, Felice Gasul's uncle. Standing together, 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yit'alev v'yithalal shmei d'kudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiram bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol b'nei Adam ve'imru. Amen. We close together on page
677.
677. At the very top, feel free to be seated. Open our eyes. Teach us how to live.
Open up our eyes. Teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one, and we will know that you are one, and we will know that you are one, and we will know that you are one.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashavat lasot et hashavat ledorotam berit olam beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat lasot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat lasot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam Savri Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Borei peri hagafen l'chaim Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamotzi lechem min haaretz Amen. Shabbat Shalom. It's an Ellen Chala, unexpected, and I guilted her into this last week. It's a last round one. So I'm going to invite you guys to break bread outside. I'm going to come out really quickly and say hi, but I see the kids starting to arrive, and I have to go out to an animal sanctuary. So I'm going to ask Ellen to bring this out, and then we'll break bread. And welcome. We're so happy that you chose to be here with us. It's great to see our Vicky and, of course, everyone else, Susan and Michael and Marty. Dave and Ev left, and Karen got here, and Ellen, and great to see everybody. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.